What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. I've got a BOLDR watch that's going to help you if you travel a lot. And that's because I have one of my favorite types of watches here. This is from BOLDR, and this is what they call the Globetrotter GMT. Now, I'm unboxing this one here to give you the full unboxing experience, but what you can see here is I've actually got two cases, and that's because I have, amazingly here, two BOLDR Globetrotter GMT watches on loan from BOLDR to check out. And so I just want to unbox these. They are nice hard cases, kind of like Pelican style cases. And what we have here are two almost identical watches. Feature wise, they're all the same, but you can see here we have the red and blue, the Pepsi color scheme on this one, and the blue and black, which is probably my preferred color scheme. A little more traditional, a little less bright, but this is obviously a very common diver watch motif. Now, what you'll also be seeing here, where we're going to interrupt this review a little bit, is that you can see this case has kind of everything you need, all your cards and information here. And then we have the watch in the case right here. And I say watch pretty loosely because it technically is the watch. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble getting the sucker out. The sucker is a little bit weighty. You can see how big it is, 3/16 stainless steel. This thing has some mass to it. You can see how thick it is, and it is a serious watch. Now, what you'll notice is that we have spring bars already loaded, but there is obviously no band in it, and that's why we have the band right here. But on top of that, this fitted band, which should slide right in there, and BOLDR Supply Company, does not have the buckle on it. And so you get the buckle separately. And so you kind of will have to put together the watch. You won't get quite the instant gratification you will on other watches. It's a very nice deployment clasp here. You can see very thick material, stainless steel brushed. It's beautiful. Has a little ratcheting micro adjustment here for presumably really diving, which is kind of nice. And then you also have a tool included here. Looks like we have one end of it that's unscrewed from it, but we do have a spring bar tool, which is obviously what you'll need because you'll need to remove those spring bars to get it in. And then you also have a punch here, which I guess you probably don't need. I'm kind of guessing maybe that the reason that wasn't screwed in is probably you don't need that. Yeah, it's actually branded BOLDR there too, so they have that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble one of these watches and we'll take a closer look at it. All right, I got everything together, and I'm going to be honest here, guys. I think I kind of understand why they sent everything in parts. And you can see here, because of the way these rubber straps are molded in here, we get some really sharp angles to hug that wrist. That's not uncommon when, you know, they're kind of formed and lapped to meet the lugs and kind of be, you know, in fixed place right here. And you can see there's a little stop underneath. They're not going to move, as opposed to a lot of rubber straps that will kind of pivot on that spring bar. Now, my problem with this is I actually love wearing watches, not putting them together. I do a lot of my own work on them, adjust my straps on my own, replace the battery if I need to, but I don't like opening up a box and kind of being delayed that instant gratification of throwing it on my wrist and enjoying it and putting it together. On top of that, while this one does not seem to have an up or down band, I don't think you can mess that up. You actually kind of, especially if you're having assembled watches before, you may put on the deployment clasp wrong, and I kind of did, I think, but it'll work. But it's kind of annoying if you're going to put it on and end up putting it on wrong, or you have to put it on to kind of fit it. As you can see, there's plenty of additional strap here to be able to do that and kind of dial it in. I would like all of that kind of assembled already. So I get that, especially on this type of watch, you're probably going to have to do a little cutting, and that's why we have some of these additional holes here, because you're going to put the spring bar through one of these. You're going to use this punch to kind of push one of these out, you know, when you get it kind of sized right. And they do include, like I said, plenty of extra length here. I don't know what the replacement bands go for. I know my Tag Heuer, my Aqua Racers and stuff like that, they are pretty expensive. On my Elise Nardan, the replacement bands are brutally expensive. But you can see here, it's a really nice deployment clasp. I like it. It's a single prong right there that presses in here, and you've got a release right here on the sides, and then you can see this micro adjuster right there. You can see those the ratcheting mechanism right in there, so you can adjust it quite a bit, which is not only nice for getting over a wet suit. I'm not sure how many people really do that, but it's kind of nice if you're out and about, it's hot and sweaty, and you're trying to make your watch a little looser to vent a little bit better. I always like those micro adjustments right there. Boom. Okay. And now I will also say that everything about it otherwise, once you get it together, looks pretty nice. Because it's so big, I can actually throw this sucker on probably without even deploying it. Look at that. But this is what it would look like on my particular wrist. It's a 44 millimeter case. I know a lot of people like smaller cases, but I love 44 millimeters. Now, I will say this is a big, beefy watch. You could probably beat up someone with this if you wanted to. It's pretty awesome. I love the fact that this is an automatic movement. It's the ETA 2893. Automatic movement, and so it's super reliable. You can see the hand, the sweeping second hand there. It's just absolutely fantastic. You have the independent adjustable GMT hand right there in the blue, so that's your second time zone. You can see how we have probably lume, I think, on the whole dial here. The hour markers, big broad lume on the hour and minute hand, even on the seconds hand, but then you have a nice triangular pip right there. And again, I love this bezel. I'm assuming it's a ceramic. The black and the blue there is just a color scheme that I really, really like. Love the fact that we have this kind of gear-like knurling on the bezel. Very, very thick. Definitely kind of a diver watch cred on this bad boy. And it's just really beautiful. Flat sapphire crystal, anti-reflective coating. Not anti-fingerprint, because I got them all over it. And a rubber strap there with, obviously, the adjustable buckle. Now, the case here is almost 15 millimeters thick, so it's big, and it's a 22 millimeter width on the band here. So you could replace that, as you saw at Spring Bars, if you wanted to replace it with something, you know, nylon or leather, you could absolutely, or, you know, even metal. And I like that the fact that we've got the brushed sides on the top here. We've got a little bit of polish in between, and on the top of this the bezel up here, and so a brushed stainless band would look pretty nice. Again, you can kind of see how the movement is off centered here a little bit. The crown is at the 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock position. That puts the date window down at the 4 o'clock position too. And I'm just going to show you that crown, big individual knurling there, and then the BOLDR logo on it. I'm gonna unscrew it here. There it goes, and it pops out. And now if I pull this out, one position, I can adjust the time, and you can see it's adjusting the GMT hand along with it. So once you have that GMT hand set up to, you know, compensate for whatever your current time zone is, like say an hour ahead or something like that, then you can always just adjust your time and make that accurate. Looks like we have a hacking seconds. Now if I pull it out, not sure, one more time? Guess maybe not. I'm gonna push it in one position. That's winding it. There we go. It looks like there's an intermediate position between where I was. So, and then now if I rotate it like this, look, we can jump that GMT hand, and it jumps every hour relative to whatever time it's set. So we can set that to another time zone, which is nice. And now if I turn it the other way, usually what we'll get, there we go. On this movement, we get advancing the date on it. So really nice. I love the little tiny orange highlight there, but the black and blue is just remarkable, man. That is gorgeous. I'll tell you what, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous watch. Because I've got two of them on loan from BOLDR here. If I send one back, they'll probably think that, man, we must have just sent out one. Just kidding. I would never do that. I would certainly never admit it on camera. Jesse Smollett. Listen, hey, this is a beautiful, beautiful watch. I love it. It is beefy. It is massive. You can see here on the back, we have no exhibition back, but you have just a really big screwed in backing here. So limited edition. I think, oh man, I guess I didn't have anything written down about what that means in terms of limited edition. So I don't know that it's a numbered limited edition, but it might just be kind of a limited production run. I like the etching on the back there too. That's really beautiful, and water resistant 300 meters. So it is a true diver's watch, although, you know, I don't see any helium release or anything like that. I also do want to show you that we do have a ratcheting bi-directional bezel. Now, I'm not actually sure if this is going to be bidirectional in production, but I would assume it would be. While you don't hear serious clicks, I can feel them. Maybe you can hear them, okay? So you can put this pip anywhere you want, especially if you're diving. You know, make sure that you put it at 15 minutes from wherever your minutes hand is so that you don't run out of air while underwater. And obviously, big numbers on the bezel itself too. So pretty awesome. I really dig it. It's just got that classic diver's look. And on top of that, it is just a gorgeous watch, and from a company that I'm fairly familiar with and that I've really enjoyed their stuff in the past, just high quality and good value. And between these two, you can pick one that is absolutely your style, kind of your flavor flav. Now, I do want to say that this watch is probably the most expensive watch I've ever checked out from Boulder. It is $840 US, but I will say that for that atom movement, for kind of the craftsmanship and quality that you get from this in the style, as well as everything else here, you know, which is really just packaging, but it really is really super nice. You can see even how nice these rubber straps are. They're just made with love and quality. I think that's a great deal, right? I mean, even a base tag or aqua racer with a much simpler movement without a GMT will be anywhere from, you know, 15 to 1800 bucks, right? So the fact that you can do dual time zones with this, dive with it, have something that just has a classic look and any color scheme you like, I think is the cat's meow. So if you want to check it out and pick one up for yourself, I will put a link to it in the description, but otherwise also on Amazon, they have just a bunch of other boulders that are really cool. Just a ton of different styles, a really cool fashion brand. So check it out. This is the Globetrotter GMT. I'm stoked about it. We will see it on other YouTube channels. We're sending it on. Peter Von Panda, out.